Hello everyone. Game I'd like to review in this video is a game that is related to a very old TV show that used to offer a lot of ways to relax to people, and that is the Bob Ross Art of Chill game. Designed by Prospero Hall Design Studio, distributed by Big G Creative in 2017. I'm going to be using the tabletop simulator file by Mahobear 8 to run this review and tutorial. It'll just make things a little bit easier, not take up so much table space. So let's go down to the table. So here's what the game will look like on the table. With a couple of caveats here, I added a few things to this table just to make things a little bit easier for myself. One thing I added was a player mat that I created and is available for free on Board Game Geek. It just has a rule summary on the side, what to do on your turn, a summary of the actions you can do. Also, the creator of this file did not have these tokens to place on the board over here. They had dice instead. I decided to change it out to make it look more like the original board game. I also added the rulebook right here so that we can just look at it right within the game here. So, what is the Art of Chill? In the Art of Chill, you're basically going to be doing something called resource management. You're going to be collecting cards and trying to get the right types of paints and instruments to be able to paint paintings faster than Bob Ross. You can see right here, the paintings are in a pile, and you'd be trying to complete them before the Bob Ross figure finishes his trek along the path down here. In order to do that, you'll be finishing off these various features on every painting. There are different ones, not all of them are the same. If I move this over, you'll see that there's an Almighty Mountains one here. There's the Wondrous Water here, Charming Cabin, Fluffy Clouds. So some of them repeat, some of them don't. So how do you make points in the game? The idea is to finish going around this track with points to be the first person to get to the chill spot here. In order to do that, you'll notice that there are points on this board right here. The first person to complete certain features on a painting will get bonus points for having finished them. So for instance, if you look at this painting here, if you get to the Fluffy Clouds before Bob, you will get 2 points for completing the Fluffy Clouds. If you are the first person to complete the Fluffy Clouds, you will get an extra 2 points for completing the Fluffy Clouds. Same thing for each of the other features. Another way to get points as well is with the use of technique bonuses. Techniques are cards that you can earn during the game by spending 2 cards of the same kind to pick up one of these technique cards. When you earn a technique card, you will immediately score 2 chill points. So technique cards give you 2 points right away when you earn them, and 1 chill point each time afterwards when you paint a feature that requires that brush or paint. Also, there are these chill cards that will be drawn, and these chill cards can also give you extra points based on which feature you're painting and what paint or instrument you're using. So for instance, this one says earn 1 extra chill point if you paint a feature with bright red. This one says earn 1 extra chill point if you paint a feature with cadmium orange. Earn 1 extra chill point if you gain a technique card. So those different cards can also give you points. One of the main ways you will gain points in the game is by counting up how many paints is required to complete a specific feature. If you look at this painting here, this feature requires 4 paints, this feature only requires 3, this feature only requires 3, so this feature would actually give you more points. You'll also notice that that's the feature that gives you the 2 bonus points first on this painting. The setup for the game is relatively easy. you'd want to shuffle all of the different paintings so that they are in a random order. You'd want to shuffle these technique cards and distribute 4 of them next to the deck. You'd want to give every player 3 cards. My cards are in my hand on Tabletop Simulator, so they are right here. I've distributed 3 cards to every other player. And then you want to reveal the top 4 cards next to that deck. You want to make sure that the chill deck is in this spot on that board, that every player has their 3 features tokens, and that all of their player tokens are on the first spot of the track. Let's start to talk about gameplay at this point. Gameplay is relatively easy. On your turn, you're going to do these 2 things. You're going to roll the bob die, do whatever it tells you to do, and then you can perform 3 actions. The list of actions is right here, where you can draw an art supply card, you can apply paint to your palette, you can wash your palette, you can sweep the art supplies, you can earn a technique and gain points that way, you can paint a feature and gain points that way. When you roll the die, there are a few things that can happen depending on which side of the die is face up. So I'm going to roll the die here, and the most common thing to happen is for Bob's face to show up. And I took this screenshot right out of the rule book so that I could refer to it. It's also a pretty good idea to have this on the table in front of you for the physical game so that players can refer to it quickly. The first thing you do is reveal a chill card. So anytime Bob's face comes up, that's when one of these chill cards will flip over. Chill cards will have 2 different types. Either they'll have a one-time activation, or they will be activated for the entire time that they are face up on the board. After that, you move Bob 1 space to the right on the Bob track of the painting. So this is how this is going to move up the track and potentially finish the painting before players do, therefore taking away the ability to get these bonus points. So that it's kind of like a timer for the game. If you roll the palette, you may play 1 paint from your hand to your palette. If you roll the card, you may take 1 art supplies card from the top of the deck. So not one of the revealed ones, but one from the top of the deck. And if this is the face that comes up on the die, you may take 1 action of your choice. So that's an extra action on top of the 3 actions that you normally get. So you'd pick 1 of these actions and you'd get to do 1 before you started your 3 actions. So that's what happens when you roll the die. For the first action of draw an art supply card, that just means take 1 of these cards. And remember that you're trying to finish off one of the features, so you definitely want to try to get as many cards as possible that match the feature that you might be trying to complete. Now, there is 1 special card that is a wild card. In order to take a card that is wild, if you look over here, I wrote down to pick up a face-up wild, you need to spend 2 actions out of the 3 actions that you have. So if it's face down on the deck and you draw it, there's no worries there. It's only 1 action to do so. But if it is face up, it does require 2 actions to pick it up. It might be easier at this point to just go through a few rounds of play, just to show you what the game looks like. And that way you'll be able to get a feel as to whether or not you would enjoy the game. So let's look at the cards that I have in my hand. I have 2 cadmium orange, a sap green, and I have these 3 instruments. Number 1 brush, putty knife, number 2 brush. So if we look at the features that are needing to be painted, the fluffy clouds would be the one that would give us the most bonus if we can complete it. I do have the 2-inch brush, I do have the cadmium orange, but I'm missing the blue and the red. So first thing I would do on my turn is roll the die. So I actually rolled the ability to take one of the actions of my choice before starting my actual turn. So, considering I need blue, I'm going to draw blue into my hand and immediately reveal the next card. So once again, I need red in order to complete that. Now, one of the actions you can do is you can start to apply paint to either the A or the B side of your palette. Considering I need orange and blue for my first action, now remember taking that blue card was a bonus from the die, so I still have 3 actions. So I'm going to put the blue down here. I'm going to put the orange down here. Now these 2 paints are now considered to be mixed. I cannot separate them. Once I've got them on that side of my palette, I wouldn't be able to take it and move it over here. Now why is that an issue? That's an issue if somebody finishes a feature before you and now all of a sudden you don't need that blue. So for instance, I'm trying to get this feature done. If somebody got that feature done before me, this blue would no longer be necessary. Well, I cannot separate these 2 paints. I'd actually have to do another type of action to get rid of that, called washing your palette. And then I'd be able to just take these 2 off and start anew. So you do have to be careful, and that does happen a bit, where another player will steal your feature, and then you've got a paint that you've got to get rid of by washing your palette. So that was my 2 actions. After the die roll, I have one more action that I can do, and because I'm still missing a red and there's no red available here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw from the top of the deck. And look at that, I got the red that I need. So on my next turn, I might actually be able to finish that feature. Let's move over to the green player's turn. I've revealed the cards that they would have. Now these would be hidden. I can't draw them into my hand though because that'll confuse everything. So they have a blue, a brown, and a yellow. A blue, a brown, and a yellow. Well, they have the blue and they have the brush, so they could go after that feature as well. So let's roll the die, see what happens for them. So they rolled the Bob die. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reveal a chill card, and it says players may take an extra action on their turn. Now this card is in play until another card replaces it. So if no card replaces it, every player is going to get that bonus. So now this player has 4 actions instead of 3. However, because the Bob die was rolled, we do need to move Bob onto the first space of the track. And here comes the timer counting down. So this player has 4 actions that they can do. Well, the first action they're going to do is they're going to take this orange, because that matches the orange that's here. They're going to play the blue, that's 2. Play the orange, that's 3. And they need a red, so let's see what next card would be. The next card is a red. That's going to be 4 actions to pick up that red. And they are now ready to actually complete that feature as well. However, if this player finishes it first, they will steal the bonus on the track, but the other player can still get at least 1 bonus point for finishing it on the board. So let's look at this player's turn now. Now this player has watched the other 2 players go before them and knows that they're probably going to complete that feature before this player's turn comes back around. Therefore, they're not going to go for that feature. They're going to go for another feature. The next one that would give a bonus point here would be the Wondrous Water. So that's the one that they're going to go for. Now they actually do have a wild card. Now when you play a wild card for your paints, you don't actually have to say which color it represents until you use it to complete a feature. So let's roll the Bob die, see what happens. So it is Bob's face that comes up again. So as before, a couple of things happen. So that player would have been getting this extra action on their turn, however, now they are covering that card, so they won't get that extra action on a turn. But once per turn, players may sweep the face-up art supplies card as a free action. So sweeping the face-up art supplies card just means getting rid of all of these cards, discarding them, and putting 4 new ones out. So that is also a card that's going to be in play until another card covers it. Once again, Bob moves because Bob's face was rolled on the die. So let's decide what this player is going to do. Now, what this player is going to do, notice how they have 2 blue paints. There is a blue paint technique out on the table. So as this is a way to get bonus points, that's what the player is going to do. That player is going to discard these 2 cards and is going to take this technique card and just place it behind their palette here. Another technique card is revealed to replace it. Now this, if you remember, gaining a technique card actually does give you 2 bonus points. So blue is going to move up 2 spots on the track for gaining that technique card. So now in the future, if the blue player paints a feature that uses this color, they will also get a bonus point. That was the blue player's first action. For their second action, they're going to start collecting the paints that they need for the Wondrous Water. They need red, orange, and white, and they don't have 2 of those. Their wild can be 1 of them. So let's take this for their second action, and we'll reveal the next card. Now they do not have enough actions to take this wild because they only have 1 action left. They will take the white card, the white paint card, as their last action, and that is their 3 actions. Let's replace that card and go to the next player's turn. So the yellow player is looking at what everybody else is doing and wants to try to race the third player for the Wondrous Water feature. For the Wondrous Water feature, the first thing they'll do on their turn is roll the die. Bob's face comes up again. That means that this card will cover that one. And it says, when this card is revealed, all players may draw an art supply card from the top of the deck. So that is starting with this player. So this player is going to draw their card. This player is going to draw their card. This player is going to draw their card. Okay. So now that places this player in a slightly better position to try to complete the Wondrous Water because they have 2 of the colors required. They also have the paintbrush that they need. So now the yellow player can play their 3 actions. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to use their action to sweep all of these cards. So they're going to completely replace all of those cards. Now they probably would have taken the wild card, but I'm trying to show you all of the different actions that you can do in the game. So they have 2 of the colors, they need white, so for their second action they're going to take this white card, and for their third action they're going to place the white card on their palette. And that's the end of the first round. So let's go back to the first player. Now the first player's hand, remember that the first player was going for the Fluffy Clouds feature. They have all of the colors that they require. They need to put the colors down on their palette and then be able to play the brush required to paint the feature. So let's do this in the right order. First thing they do is roll the die. Bob has been revealed again, so this is going to flip up and it says, do not move Bob forward, he's just chilling. So that is slowing down the timer a little bit, which is good news for all the players. So what colors do we need? Now you'll notice that there's an outline for 3 colors on the mat here. Let me just turn the cards so that you can see that a little bit better. So we can put 1 color down here, 1 color down here, and then play the brush. And those are our 3 actions. So the colors needed are red, 1 action. Then they will complete the feature by playing the brush, and it just says paint a feature is one of your actions. So this is their 2nd action. They discard all of those cards. And now we're going to follow the process for getting all of the points that they're going to get. So the first thing we're going to do is give them 2 points for having completed that feature. Then they're going to get another 2 points for being the first player to complete that feature. Then they're going to get the points for the number of paints that were required to complete that feature. It took 3 paints, so they get 3 more points. 1, 2, 3. We should also check the chill card to see if there were any bonus points from the chill card. There are none for this feature. And that's it for them, because they do not have any techniques that will add an extra bonus point. So you can see how many points completing one feature can give you. Now the red player still has 1 more action. They're going to consider going after the Charming Cabin as their next feature. Therefore, they're going to take this brown paint and draw it into their hand, revealing the next one for the next player. And that's basically how you play the game. If the 3 features get painted, or if Bob makes it to the end before the 3 features are painted, all that happens is you take the next painting in the pile and reveal it, and then start working on those features. And you do that until one player reaches the chill spot, and at that point the game ends and that player is the winner. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial and walkthrough of the Bob Ross The Art of Chill game. It is a pretty fun game. There's some interesting strategies. It's not a very difficult game, but it's a great one to introduce people to the hobby, especially if they know anything about Bob Ross. Until next time, folks, this has been another Check the Rulebook review, tutorial, and walkthrough.